Our theme today is Washoku. Japan's culinary culture arose from the rich variety of ingredients yielded by the country's distinct geography and climate, and the unique way of life that resulted. Washoku, this traditional dietary culture reflecting deep reverence for nature, was inscribed as a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage in December 2013. Washoku means far more than just Japanese food. The word embodies a wisdom and artistry developed over millennia of adaptation to the specific Japanese climate and terrain. That history and tradition have given birth to an approach to food as a work of art, created to be enjoyed for its beauty as well as its taste. Today we'll explore Washoku in terms of design.
Welcome to Design Talks. I'm Andrea Pompilio.
And I'm Shala.
Shala, our topic this time is traditional Japanese cuisine, Washoku.
Great.
Do you like it?
I love Washoku. It's probably my favorite.
Yeah, there's so much to enjoy. We know Japanese history and tradition have shaped Washoku, but how about design? Can we say Washoku has a design philosophy? We're here to visit the famous Washoku restaurant in Ginza, Tokyo's gourmet heartland.
Great.
Let's go.
Okay.
Come on.
This way?
Yes.
Andy and Shaula have arrived at the restaurant.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Please come in. Take a seat.
Thanks for having us.
Glad you could come.
This is Chef Okuda.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What a lovely restaurant.
Thank you. Our interior decor is inspired by the Sukiya style of traditional tea houses. This counter, for example.
Wow, it's a single piece of wood?
Yes, from a 500-year-old Hinoki cypress.
I can smell the hinoki scent.
And look at that flower arrangement behind you. It's beautiful.
This is camellia and plum blossom. Just this simple flower display creates a sense of the season, and the touch of nature sends an important message. In the old days, people basically ate fish caught the same day and vegetables fresh from the field. So everything was local and seasonal. The flower arrangement reminds us of that. It's a major theme.
Fascinating.
Toru Okuda is a chef in the orthodox Washoku tradition. In 2007, he received his 3rd Michelin star, the famous guidebook's highest rating, and he's kept it ever since. In 2013, Okuda stepped onto the global stage with his Paris restaurant. He's one of the most prominent and active chefs in Washoku today.
Come in.
He's invited Andy and Shaula to the kitchen.
Amazing.
Wow, fantastic. Wow.
Here are today's ingredients.
Wow.
The theme is winter. In winter, the seas become colder and the fish get tastier.
The flesh gets firmer.
That's right.
And this?
It's today's menu. In the kaiseki style of Japanese cuisine, we don't have a main dish distinct from the other courses. Each dish plays an important role, carrying the theme from one course to the next.
Wow, fascinating. Like telling a story with a beginning and an end.
Exactly. As a restaurateur and chef, I ask myself what story I want to tell my guests, what scene I want to set.
The art of culinary design is to present these ingredients in new forms that still bring out their natural goodness. That's the basic concept inspiring this Washoku chef as he constructs his daily menu.
In Japanese cuisine, seasonal ingredients are everything. In the past, this was taken for granted. You had to cook with fish caught that morning, vegetables gathered the same day. Everything was fresh and seasonal because you had no other options.
Of course.
Chefs today are starting to focus again on that aspect of Japanese cuisine, getting the style of presentation right.
It's time to begin the meal.
Just looking at it is a joy. It's almost a shame to eat it.
I know.
Japanese tiger prawn from southeast Tokushima and monkfish liver from Yoichi in Hokkaido.
Monkfish liver.
And that's a slightly spicy vinegar jelly.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see.
Wow, the taste is so delicate and succulent. Delicious.
Yum.
Nature's bounty.
True.
When you have such fine ingredients, you want to keep the cooking as simple as possible.
Simple, yes.
And it's naturally good for health, too.
Emphasizing the qualities of fresh, seasonal ingredients. Expressing the beauty of nature through simple but elegant presentation. This is the design philosophy of Washoku.
What a beautiful bowl. This looks wonderful.
What is it?
Wajima lacquer. The design is red and white plum blossoms. Plum blossoms for February. Red and white are auspicious, so it works at New Year's too. But February is the month for plum blossoms.
Ooh.
Wow.
Here we have red sea bream steamed with sake, hexagonal cut daikon radish, and the orange part is sea cucumber ovaries.
The scent of yuzu is strong. A feast for the eyes too. Such seasonal touches are fundamental to Washoku, right?
Absolutely. The lid, with its red and white plum blossoms, immediately makes you think of the season. That's the first way we get that message across. Then, when you open the lid, the first thing that hits you is the scent of yuzu, and the sight of yellow yuzu always suggests winter. Everything is designed to express the spirit of the season. It's colorful and delicious. In Japanese cuisine, there's always a close connection between the food and the kind of vessel we serve it in.
Beautiful.
Such a mild flavor.
This broth is called ichiban dashi. Above all, it has to be smooth and light. You don't want it to feel heavy or thick.
It's a very mild taste.
Some say Japanese cuisine is cooking with dashi. When making ichiban dashi, you only have a very short window of time to extract just the best of the flavor. To my mind, this simple broth expresses the whole spirit of Washoku. It has a delicious umami flavor that slowly and subtly spreads to hit all your taste buds. It's deep.
Deep, yes.
This is oval squid.
What a knife.
It's called a yanagiba knife. It's made especially for sashimi.
Is there a reason for those diagonal grooves you're cutting?
Yes. The tasty parts of the squid run through its flesh, like this.
All twisty?
Yes, but if I slice these grooves on each side, the taste from those good parts spreads into every piece. I've cut 2 sets for you to compare.
I'll start with the one you didn't slice.
Well,
The more I chew it, the tastier it gets. Now the other one.
That's the one I sliced.
Here it goes. It's totally different.
so quick.
The instant I bit into it, I could tell. Like night and day, right?
This is so tasty, right from the start. The way you cut it completely alters the taste. Sashimi is all about the cutting. Cutting makes the difference. It's how we bring out the flavor.
Difficult.
Yet it looks so simple, right?
Does.
Sashimi is just cutting seafood, right? The cutting is everything.
But it's the most difficult of all.
Yes.
It's the sophisticated design of Japanese chefs' knives that allows Washoku's subtle cutting techniques. One of the things that sets Washoku apart from other cuisines is its vast array of knives, a special knife for every type of ingredient. Let's take a look at how Japanese knives are made. Masaaki Kobayashi is an artisan in the great tradition of Japanese knife making. Kobayashi's knives are in great demand among leading chefs. He begins by forging the steel for the blade onto an iron ingot. This is then heated to over 800 degrees and hammered repeatedly until steel and iron fuse to produce a hard, strong blade. The steel core is exposed on only one side to create the single ground knife distinctive to Washoku. The fine cutting quality that really brings out the flavor is due to the design of the back, which is slightly hollowed.
This hollowed back helps it slice more smoothly. A flat back blade, especially if it's single ground, tends to stick to the food.
The smoothly hollowed back allows the knife to cut through fibers without crushing them, so each slice looks clean and precise.
Anything sliced with a really sharp knife looks and tastes different. When I talk to chefs, they all say the same. The sharper the knife, the better the ingredients taste.
A knife's cutting ability also depends on how it is ground. The cutting edge on the side where the steel is exposed is ground to a very precise angle. It's in the design of this bevel that the artisan's skill and experience shine through.
This is the cutting part, from the edge to the line of the bevel. If I use this square, you can easily see how steep the angle is. This angle is why it can slice the flesh off so cleanly.
Because the cutting edge has this precise bevel, it slices each piece cleanly, leaving a glossy surface with all the flavor locked in.
I'll grind the edge more thinly if it's for a highly skilled chef. The thinness makes it extra light and clean cutting. And a good chef can really take advantage of that. The trouble is, not many chefs today have such skill. In the old days, the skill of the chef was a constant challenge to the knife maker to produce a finer, more extreme blade. Artisan and chef spurred each other on to greater heights. It's always great to make knives for chefs who I know can really make the most of my best blades.
The sheer number of different knives used in Washoku reflects a history of respect for each one of its wide range of ingredients. Knife makers and chefs striving to develop and employ ever finer cutting edges helped drive the evolution of Washoku.
What's he cooking over there?
It's harvest fish, one of the finest winter fishes. He's grilling it in yuan yaki style, with a miso-based sauce.
Washoku employs many cooking methods to draw out the utmost flavor from the different ingredients. Each dish is then presented in a way designed to be most visually appealing to the diner.
Wow, so good. Really amazing.
In Japanese cuisine, we present the fish and vegetables in so many different ways. Most courses today were fish, but you never felt bored, right?
Never. Every taste was completely different.
True.
Edomae sushi is one traditional style of washoku, renowned for looking as good as it tastes. It's a good example of the many traditional techniques that were developed to make the best of each seasonal ingredient. This sushi restaurant in Tokyo's Asakusa district has been in business for 148 years and still makes everything using the old methods. Tadashi Uchida is a fifth-generation sushi chef and master of the Edomae style.
All I care about in the end is that when people eat my sushi, they find it to be delicious. You must get 4 things right: the vinegared rice, the freshly grated wasabi, the sushi toppings themselves, prepared using several techniques, and the sweetened soy sauce. If those 4 things are in balance, then you're making good sushi.
Sushi is not simply sashimi on rice. Each ingredient is prepared and arranged to bring out its best qualities in a perfect balance of form and flavor. That's sushi.
Red sea bream prepared this way is called matsukawa zukuri. It's simply blanched in hot water to make both the flesh and skin more tasty. This is a very old-fashioned method. Now I cut here with the knife. In the sushi business, we call shaping a piece dressing the sushi. The size of a piece also affects how good it tastes. The most important thing is that the topping must be in balance with its vinegared rice base.
Invented in the early 19th century, nigiri sushi, hand-formed sushi in bite-sized pieces, was a handy way to combine rice and fish. Sushi rice must be made with just the right amount of vinegar.
When you pour vinegar over the rice grains absorb it. You want the vinegar to permeate each grain equally. So you spread the rice out in the tub and cut it with the rice paddle. Then you fan it vigorously with a hand fan. When you see it turn really glossy, you know it's just right. If the vinegar flavor of the rice is too assertive, it will overwhelm the taste of the topping. Alternatively, the topping can be too dominant and you can't taste the sushi rice. We say it's like a good marriage. If the vinegar rice is the wife, the topping is the husband. With just the right balance between the two, you have a happy marriage that results in perfectly delicious sushi.
No fish demands more sensitive preparation than Kohada gizzard shad. Daisuke Yamashita, the restaurant's 6th-generation chef, prepares the day's freshly delivered ingredients in the traditional way. He confirms that Kohada is the most difficult to handle of them all.
When I first started here, the first thing I learned was to prepare Kohada. The first fish I practiced my knife skills on was Kohada. When to sprinkle the salt, when to pour the vinegar, my whole education started with this fish.
When preparing Kohada gizzard shad, its silvery skin is left on. It is first salted, then marinated in vinegar to bring out its full gloss and savor. It takes a full 3 days before it is ready to be made into sushi. This laborious traditional process was designed to create the most beautiful and tasty sushi topping possible.
Kohada is a sushi topping that takes us right back to the roots of Tokyo-style sushi. Just look at the beautiful pattern of its skin. This piece is a little too large, so I'll cut it like this. From a design standpoint, it doesn't look as beautiful as I want, so I use the knife to brighten it up. Among sushi chefs, we considered the mark of true skill is being able to prepare kohada to bring out its full flavor. Washoku is all about creating a meal that will appeal to our senses, both to taste and to sight, in fact to all of our five senses. And one thing that is absolutely essential is that the food must be beautiful. It takes a whole series of processes and techniques handed down for generations to make each piece of sushi look and taste its best. This is traditional work in the best sense of the term.
Techniques developed by Edomae sushi chefs, designed to make best use of seasonal ingredients, to bring out all the flavor and make each piece as beautiful as possible. It's an approach shared by all styles in the Washoku tradition.
What beautiful bowls.
They're gorgeous.
This is a medley of several separate dishes.
You mean each one was cooked separately?
Yes, all separately.
Really?
Vegetables can be fairly bland, so we first prepare them using several different methods. We season them differently to best bring out their specific flavors.
So tender.
This turnip just melts in your mouth.
Such a deep flavor.
It's all based on home cooking, you know. My mother wasn't a very good cook, so I learned to do it.
Really?
Well, same with my mother. That's why I love cooking.
When I was a kid, my mother kept telling me to marry a good cook.
The roots of Washoku lie in Japanese home cooking. Preserving this heritage has kept home cookery researcher Tokiko Suzuki young, even at 90 years of age.
Delicious. Of course, all chefs were first raised on their mother's cooking. They may take it to a higher level and charge a whole lot for it. But home cooking is done for love.
Delicious meals made with love. You can trace much of the Washoku philosophy back to those roots.
This is a very simple way to slice daikon, but it makes sure it cooks evenly. Foods that ripen in the same season always go well together. So my simple rule is, never use anything that's out of season.
This dish, Japanese amberjack and daikon radish stew, is a staple of home cooking, a combination of seasonal ingredients perfected over the centuries, like all washoku.
I first blanch the fish like this. It's a trick my mother had. I learned all her cooking tricks. You never forget the things you learn when you're little. Now I'll use ice water to cool it down again. With this technique, you can make even cut-price amberjack taste good. What I'm showing you is a rough and ready way of cooking, but it's fine for the home. What matters most is to produce tasty meals for your family. If that's your goal, then you'll become a good cook. And everyone has their own family recipes, you know. There's a way it has to be done in each house. That's how home cooking traditions get passed on.
Ensuring family meals are varied and nutritious. Time and love poured into home cooking over the centuries inspired much of the Washoku menu. One old home cooking principle was to ensure daily balance with 3 side dishes, soup, and rice. Washoku meals are healthy meals.
You should use up everything. Even this little bit will be useful to add a touch of green.
Part of home Washoku wisdom is never to waste anything. It's no effort to add those greens to freshly cooked rice for extra nutrition and color.
The essence of hospitality is to offer your guests a well-cooked, delicious meal. And if you are smart about it, you can cook tasty meals without spending much time. You don't have to get fancy, but do pick things that are in season and cook them in ways that taste good. Home cooking is all about meals that make people say, that was good.
This simple, warm-hearted home philosophy is the starting point for even the most sophisticated Washoku designs.
Oh.
Wow!
This is rice with tiled fish and mullet roe.
Whoa. A real gourmet dish.
Looks delicious.
The rice is cooked in a broth made from the tiled fish's head and bones.
It smells so good.
Great aroma. Mmm.
Yummy.
Wow, thank you.
Wow, what a beautiful dish.
Apple dessert.
Apples?
Grilled apples, stewed apples, apple ice cream, and julienne apple.
Wow.
Of course, if it simply tastes good, I feel I've done my job. But it's even better if I can tempt the diner into asking about the meaning and background of each dish.
Coming to a restaurant like this, you really understand what eating means to the Japanese. The culture of food here. This is a philosophy. It's a whole way of life.
Eating can be a culturally deep experience that really broadens your understanding of life. That's especially true of Washoku.
I want to offer the simple daily pleasure of enjoying a meal, only taken to a much higher level. The Japanese way of hospitality, of thoughtfulness, of attentiveness. These things are so important.
Thank you so much for today's experience.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
A sense of closeness to nature and a deep appreciation of the seasons. These are reflected throughout life in Japan. Washoku is truly food for the soul, a design for living that brings out the best in Japanese culture.
NHK World, your eye on Asia.
Asian Voices, a program that seeks to find answers to our uncertain world. The world's leaders and luminaries. A wide range of topics, a wide range of opinions. The leading lights of our society sharing their thoughts on the Asia of today. Asian Voices with Aiko Doden.